Another huge difference to families is their language. And we have a dramatic increase in the first language that's being spoken at home. So if you look at the first graphic on the right, we see a graph. When we see that children who speak a language other than English at home is dramatically on the rise. And this is from children ages 5 to 17. Now, what you may have already learned is a lot of these children were born in the United States. So even though they're not immigrants, which we do have a big rise of, they were born in the United States and they are still speaking, they're still in a home that English is not the first language. If you look at the yellow line, these are children who speak a language other than English at home, and they live in a household where the parents either speak little or no English. And you can see that that number is not quite on the rise, but it is steady from long ago. We see increasingly that although the parents have limited English, the children learn English because they're in the school system. So this is something that we really must understand, because as a classroom teacher, you're going to be communicating with families and you have to find effective ways to communicate. Most of my students usually just tell me, oh, we'll get a translator. And that is not usually an option in 90 to 95% of your communications with families. If you have a conference or something really formal, the district may have an interpreter they can bring in. But more often than not, for meetings, a family member will act as an interpreter, or a child, another older sibling. But on a day-to-day basis, we have to be able to find ways to communicate effectively with families. And we'll talk about that more as the semester goes on. I did want to show you the graphic at the top left, and we still see English as the first language of our country. And Spanish, if you look at the numbers below it, you can see that we have 41 million and growing amount of Spanish speakers in our United States, but that still only makes up 14% of our population. Now, the demographic based on the United States Census data has not been updated since 2015, but I know that we know that that number is definitely higher than 14% right now. But you can see that some of the other languages of students you may have in your classroom are Chinese, and we get a couple French and Vietnamese. What we really get in this area is not on this chart. What we tend to get is some areas of Harrisburg have a few different diverse populations, like Bosnian, and there's another one. Can't think of it right this very second, but very low numbers in the whole United States, but they are immigrating right here. We have some Syrian, we have Indian, but Bosnian's the big population right now that we have in our schools in Harrisburg. So you can see that as a teacher in a public school in the United States, in Pennsylvania even, you're going to have populations that are speaking other languages. And that makes the family very diverse. So something we need to definitely think about when we're planning our instruction and our communication.